Hutton then for Hawick. Hawick all in green. Melrose in those black jerseys with the yellow and the yellow trims, the yellow check pattern, and black shorts, black socks. Hawick, as I say, all in green, playing to the post down to our right hand side. Lockington with the first little break, receives the ball again from Richard Mill, ships the ball out to Graham Dodds. Dodds has one of two options, tends to hold on to the ball and assess his options to try and find the correct pass. Goes into contact. Hawick looking to scramble back possession, but Melrose have it through Lockington. Lockington on to Richard Mill. Mitchell straightens up and goes into contact. Good tackle there from Sean Goodfellow. Spins back on the Melrose side. Hawick playing a high line defence. Hawick have stolen it though in that zone between the 10 and 22. Comes back to Hutton now. Hutton from a fairly stationary sort of position, just in that zone between the 10 and 22 central, about 30 metres out. Opts for the run. Goes into contact there. Finds Michael Robertson. Robertson in turn finds Keith Davis. He has to stop and check. Passes the ball back to Rory Hutton. Hutton is his route to the try line blocked off there. Feeds John Coots. Coots, great nimble footwork there from John Coots. Has to sort of stop and check and feed the ball back once more to Lee Armstrong. Lee Armstrong, first time we've really seen him in the final. What can he do? Great weaving work here from Armstrong. Retains possession, doesn't go too far, but continues the move. John Coots then out to Rory Hutton. Now Rory Hutton has made the initial break, finds John Coots. Coots just loses the ball though. Knocked forward there, John Coots. Rory Hutton's hands are behind his head there, and John Coots was in the perfect position there to receive the ball back from Rory Hutton down that left-hand channel. If he'd gathered the ball into his chest, he was in for a score, because he was about 5 metres shy of the try line down to that right-hand side. He simply couldn't gather it in, something he'll do many times in his career. It wasn't to be on this occasion. And we've played just over 2 minutes off the first half. Still scoreless. Important scrummage here from Melrose. And it's just found a Melrose man. Oh, that's a loose pass here. And Hawick in for a score. Well, that was really untidy from the set piece there. Keith Davis was on his toes there. Really nimble work there from Keith Davis. And from that set piece, Melrose thought they had the opportunity to clear the lines there. But Keith Davis was alert to some slack passage of play there inside pretty much the Melrose try line, just on close to the dead ball line almost. But he was in for that opening score. We'll see if it can be converted. Yes, it can. And that coming from Rory Hutton. And Hawick have got that first try, Dale.
Yeah, Rory Hutton engineering that first break, and just so easy. Just gave the ball to John Coots, and they've done it all day. They've had the spearhead attack. They've had that player off the shoulder. They've just passed it to him, and it was just butterfingers. You know, it just came out of his hand with the line beckoning, and it was just kind of bemusing stuff to how he dropped that ball. But from the scrum, Bruce Colvine got caught just at the back. I think he was playing in the 10 position, and then from it, Keith Davis reacted quickest to the loose ball and managed to get it down. But it's Melrose now on the attack, and it's good defence there again from Hawick. You know, they've been defending well all game, and just from the kick-off, Graham Dodds has made a big run up that far side there, and he's just been scampered back down. And it was Keith Davis, the try scorer, a minute ago with a great covering tackle there when he looked like he was having support, and it could have been dangerous for Hawick.
Approaching the midway point then in this first half, Graham Dodds with that breakaway, but equally good tracking back there by Keith Davis. It's a cold early evening here down at Mansfield Park, but the temperature's pretty hot out in the pitch, I'd imagine, as Hawick looking to try and build. John Coots to Cottrell, Greg Cottrell, as Richard Mills shepherding him, feeds Keith Davis. Keith Davis straightens up, is shy of the 10 metre line, still in Hawick territory. Cottrell to Lee Armstrong. Lee Armstrong's got options out wide. Oh, that was a good decent take there from Sean Goodfellow. Goodfellow weaves his way past Richard Mill. Now he's got Cottrell, he's also got Armstrong. Armstrong had to sort of stop and check because Melrose had tracking back runners just down this stand side. Cottrell might have been the better option there. But Hawick still through Goodfellow, looking for a second opening. Goodfellow to Armstrong. Armstrong, is he going to be in for the try? Tom Wilson tries to close him down. Armstrong sidesteps Tom Wilson, and Armstrong's in for try number 2 for Hawick. And they extend their lead, 12 points to 0, conversion to come. Hawick have the bit between their teeth, Dale.
Yeah, very, very good play there, especially from Lee Armstrong. Just getting the ball, you know, he could have just went for it. Sean Goodfellow, good work initially, could have just scampered up the stand side, but just decided to kind of pull out of his run, pull out of his attack, be patient, found Goodfellow again. Goodfellow punching up the midfield into the 22, Lockington just scrampering at his back, just kind of giving him a piggyback. and Lee Armstrong just looping round, managed to get that pop ball, and then from there he just managed to kind of wrong foot Tom Wilson, who was the sweeper for the Melrose side, and managed to just step inside him and score under the post. So it's good work, and it's a great start here from Hawick in the final.
A couple of minutes left of this first half, and it's been a first half that Hawick have certainly been the dominant side. So we'll see what can happen here from the restart kick. The high kick there from Rory Hutton again. Robertson giving chase. Melrose alleged to have knocked on there, so Hawick will have the put in at the set piece, and that was down to the pressure initially from Michael Robertson, trying to go in for the restart kick there with Keith Davis. Melrose adjudged to have knocked on about 28 or so metres from their own try line, and Hawick have the put in. Cottrell not hanging about. Melrose trying to wheel the scrum round, and Cottrell picks up the ball as the players break off. The referee just lining up the scrummage again. Cottrell again pops the ball in, crossing the banking side there. Rory Hutton picks the ball up again, an angled run, assesses his options. He's clearly thinking about what best to do here. He's got John Coots as an option. Coots goes in to try and scramble back possession. Keith Davis does as well, and Hawick are desperate just to keep things going. Just at the moment, the momentum certainly with Hawick, although they've been penalised just on the edge of the Melrose 22. Graham Dodds with the tap and go. Feeds to Lockington. Austin Lockington squares up. Lockington half through there. Tackles coming in from Hawick, looking to try and recycle. And chance here for Graham Dodds now. Get the ball over the 10-metre line. Dodds continues his run. Cottrell with him all the way. So too is Rory Hutton. Hutton clawed into touch there, appealing that referee maybe should have given the decision the other way, but Hutton is forced into touch, and got 3 minutes left, just taking the watch. So still 3 minutes of this first half left to play. And Melrose will have Tom Wilson throwing in. Melrose do enough to win it back from the line out, and Wilson now feeds Lockington. That going through the hands of Colvin as well before it reached Lockington. A little pop pass infield there. Richard Mills in support. Melrose player goes to deck there. It's fished out by Tom Wilson. He looks both ways. He's got Colvin just on his right, and Colvin takes the ball on again, pretty stationary. Richard Mill tries to evade the challenge there of Armstrong, and it's taken on now by Lockington down this right hand channel, and Davis in support, and taken on once more by Tom Wilson just on the edge of the Hawick 22. But Hawick and Melrose are just fouled. Hawick with the tap and go. Robertson on to Davis. Davis with the pass there, and that's now fed down this stand side, and a chance for Goodfellow. Goodfellow's got a couple of options. He's got Cottrell there. They've got Keith Davis as well. Suggestions of maybe a little high challenge there from the Melrose players, but it's still with Goodfellow. Goodfellow's still running down. He's got Keith Davis on his shoulder, but Davis doing exactly what Coots did earlier on when Rory Hutton presented him with a try-scoring opportunity. Davis just simply couldn't gather around head height, and the opportunity goes a-begging for Hawick. They still lead by 14 points to 0, and we've got about 90 seconds left, I'd imagine, including stoppage time before half-time, Dale.
Yeah, it was probably pretty selfish there from Sean Goodfellow, just breaking away, and you know, he did have options. You had Greg Cottrell on his left, you had I think it was Keith Davis on his right hand side, and all he just needed to do was feed one of them, bring one of them into the game, attack a defender, commit him, and then put the other one into space. But he just decided to be a bit fancy, trying to do too much himself, and then eventually it came to nothing, and Lockington's now in the attack, and he's really not having an impact in this final, as Hawick are defending him very, very well.
Yeah, Hawick are closing down Lockington. They're aware that he can create many openings for his teammates, and Hawick having to concede possession in the scrum on the edge of the Melrose 22, but Hawick have got them hemmed in at the moment into the final minute then of this first half. 10 minutes each way, and there'll be a short interval to allow the teams to change ends and for the coaches to come on and pass on some instructions. Hawick will be the more satisfied at the moment, leading by 14 points to 0. But again, Hawick penalised on the edge of the Melrose 22. Melrose, you can see the electronic scoreboard down to our left-hand side. They're playing towards that end, playing towards the main town end here at Mansfield Park, if you know your geography around the ground. Tom Wilson feeding the ball to Richard Mill. Richard Mill now over the 10-metre line, over halfway, but he needs options. He's surrounded by 3 Hawick players. Feeds the ball on there to Grant Runciman down this right-hand channel. Runciman to Lockington. Lockington has a look up, feeds the ball back to Tom Wilson. Wilson's just on halfway. The black jerseys of Melrose just surrounding Wilson. One or two options, but Wilson still continues his run for Melrose up and beyond the 10-metre line, but he's forced back there by Rory Hutton. And there's the interception there, and you can hear the cheers of the crowd, because once again it was Armstrong in the right place at the right time, anticipating the loose pass there, as Melrose felt that they had to hurry that attack. And a lot of that was down to initially Rory Hutton forcing Melrose back towards halfway. The pass was loose, and Armstrong intercepted that loose ball and runs in underneath the post for another try. And certainly Davis was unlucky not to gather a few minutes ago, otherwise he would have been in. But that's 3 converted tries in the first half for Hawick. A very productive opening 10 minutes, Dale.
Yeah, had 3 tries in the first half, and to concede nothing. At times they've been under pressure, but they have kept them out. So that's pretty big for going into the second half. And Lee Armstrong there just hot on the heels. It was Melrose were kind of just farting about there in the halfway line. Tom Wilson just darting and going back and forth. There was tackles kind of coming in, but nothing happening. And then he just threw that kind of run out of options through the pass, and Lee Armstrong just had enough about him to kind of wrestle the ball away and then scamper in. And he's certainly had a great tournament. He's probably playing himself into contention for player of the tournament, because he's playing very, very well. He's been alert every single game, and he's scored a lot of tries and been kind of pivotal in Hawick's march to the final here. But Hawick in the first half, they were electric, came out the traps very, very well, defending very, very aggressively, and they're taking their chances as well.
Absolutely. So an easier team talk, you'd imagine, in the Hawick camp for Nicky Walker than for John DL, who's certainly gesticulating with his players and picking up the water bottle and then heading towards the touchline here. Nicky Walker and John DL, plenty of experience, been there, seen it, done it. And with it being obviously 10 minutes each way, they're very much looking at those on the bench to maybe freshen things up, give teams a different option. But we'll see if the second half of the final is similar to many matches we've watched during the course of the tournament. Quick fire score for the team in front at the start of the second period. That's been the case on many occasions, but Melrose do enough to win the restart. Tom Wilson down this left-hand channel, about 30 or so metres out. 7-8 metres in from the touchline across on the banking there, but going to be a set piece play, a scrum, just jockeying for a better position as it's just taking place on the pitch, and a pillar in the way just at the moment. But it's a scrum for Hawick, and Cottrell pops the ball into the scrum. He's able to work the ball back through the hands of Hutton. Hutton to Armstrong. Armstrong has Coots on this stand side. Coots elects to cut inside though. He's tackled by Lockington. Hutton is the reinforcements along with Goodfellow. He's got Keith Davis to his right. Elects just to continue the run just now. Finds his way around Runciman. Oh, he's tackled there by Runciman. That was an important challenge from a Melrose point of view, as Hawick are up towards their own 10-metre line here. The shrill whistle of the referee penalising Melrose, and Hawick will have the opportunity to build from their 10.
Yeah, they've been playing very well. Defence again has been really good. But Sean Goodfellow just kind of inviting Melrose to make mistakes. He could give the cut, could give the pass, but he's just kind of toying with them, going across the face of the defence and inviting them to come in and make mistakes. And it's exactly what happened there. And from the penalty there on the 10-metre line, they're just in front of the stand side here, about 5 metres in.
Davis then feeds the ball out to Goodfellow. Goodfellow to Cottrell. Cottrell straightens up. Cottrell's found a gap through Runciman and Mill, and Cottrell's going to be in for a score. And it's Hawick who do get the first try of the second half, and a second half that's inside the opening 2 minutes, just about 90 seconds old. And Cottrell, great direct running rugby there from Cottrell, but again there was too much space in that Melrose defence. Mill and Runciman, too much of a gap there, and Cottrell just was able to accelerate through that space down on that right hand corner. And it's Greg Cottrell with another try, really epitomising the Hawick spirit and the Hawick approach to the tournament, not just the final.
Yeah, you just see the players, they have that little bit extra yard of pace, you know, they're just that little bit quicker here, and Greg Cottrell just getting the ball there, just starting to see, just on the edge of the 22, just noticed that Mill and Runciman might not be as sharp and as quick as them, and just finding that gap and managing to get round the outside of them, and Hawick now just bringing a few changes on. I think that's Hutton who's come off, and Darcy Graham's came on as well, so just ringing a few changes and getting them a taste of this final as they kind of extend their lead, and it's 26-0 here.
Yeah, the same changes as they made against Gala in the semi-finals. Michael Robertson off, Finlay Simpson on, Darcy Graham is on, and Rory Hutton, he's off, and 26-0. It's a handsome advantage. Graham Dodds wins the restart kick. Dodds receives the pass in return. Dodds is in a bit of space now. Up and over halfway goes the scrum half Wilson. Wilson in turn is able to keep the move going by finding Colvine, and he in turn can only find Finlay Simpson. Cottrell, Coots now. Hawick turning up the ante again. Hawick straightening up, and they're down this right hand channel once more. Good breakaway running there from Hawick, but they're caught just in that zone between the 10 and the 22. Melrose looking to try and win the spill ball. Hawick desperate for it to come back on the Hawick side. Clock ticking down, clock very much against the men from the Green Yards at the moment. Hawick 26, Melrose 0. The final of the Hawick Sevens here at Mansfield Park, the penultimate tournament in the Kings of the Seven Series. Runciman then with the initial break there for Melrose, but it's halted. Lockington continues the move on. Lockington against Cottrell, feeds the ball inside to Mill. Mill though is checked here by Armstrong, but Mill's going to be in underneath the posts, and Mill plants the ball down, and he's usually the designated kicker for the conversion attempts. So he's right in front of the six, so that's their first points in the final, 26-7. And Melrose let a substantial lead slip away, although they held on for the victory in the semi-finals against Watsonians. I don't imagine Hawick in their mindset at the moment the same thing's going to happen with so much ease, in terms of how Melrose really did seem to just switch off in the latter half of their semi-final. Hawick will certainly work extremely hard, and Melrose will have to do so if they're going to continue this fight back.
Yeah, I don't see Hawick kind of collapsing now. I think they've played very well, and even conceding the score, I think they'll just keep on playing the confident rugby that they've been playing. But it was, again, from Melrose point of view, it was great play from them. You know, just doing that typical thing. Austin Lockington just stepping off up the far side there, and then when he was 2-on-1 with the sweeper, he just put Richard Milne in again. We've seen it time and time again, and it's so effective for Melrose, and they got a score from it. But again, it might just be a little too late here as Hoyker again on the attack.
Yeah, Keith Davis with a breakaway run. Davis finds Goodfellow. Goodfellow responds with a try of his own underneath the posts, punches the air with his left hand there, and then sort of collapses onto his back, because it was a lung-busting effort there from Sean Goodfellow underneath the sticks. 31-7, and we've just passed the midway point in the second half, and Melrose looking to ring the changes now, bring on the fresh legs for what remains of this final, and they're pretty much playing for pride now. 31-7, and Goodfellow going to try and convert his own try. Comes off the underside of the bar, doesn't go over though, so just missing the opportunity to add the extras. 31-7, but again, that's sort of lifted the atmosphere inside Mansfield Park, and Hawick will be cheered through to the end. Melrose will have to go to the well to find something. That's the restart kick, and it's from Armstrong, just I think a fraction shy of 10. Keith Davis tried to play it. I think he knew himself it was just a fraction shot, so Melrose take it back to halfway. The tap and go. Lockington takes the ball on, goes for a bit of a run, evades the challenge of Davis, still is going, he's round Cottrell. Great solo run there from Lockington, and Melrose get their second try of the final, but you just feel now too little too late. 31-12 with the conversion to come.
Oh no, it's definitely too little too late, I would think. You know, it's good. We've seen a lot of tries in this final. The home fans have had a lot to shout about as well, with how well Hawick have been playing. But Austin Lockington just shows you what he's brought to this King's circuit. He's just got that little deft step. He can step off either foot, and he can kind of just turn guys on their, with a step. He can kind of let them fall over and just put them in a muddle, and it's another good try from him, and he's certainly had a good Kings of the Seventh Circuit. And Rhys Cullen's going to get a run out in the final here for Melrose as well, as he replaces Lewis Mallon there. So at least we might see another little live wire come on and maybe just add more to this final. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what sort of contribution he can make as Melrose from the restart. Bruce Colvine takes the ball up towards the edge of the Hawick 22, still is going. Good momentum there from Melrose. Dodds fishes the ball out there, comes back to Colvin. And back onto Lockington. Lockington has Cullen in support. Lockington, who scored a minute ago, is he going to be in for another try despite the best efforts of Cottrell there? I think Melrose are certainly going to be in for the try on this occasion. I think it's Ross Miller who's in for the score. We've not seen a great deal of Miller during the afternoon, but Ross Miller has been on the pitch about a minute or so, and he's scored a try that's been converted. So the scoreboard now reads Hawick 31, Melrose 21. 2 minutes to play. Can it happen? Well, I still have my money on Hawick seeing it out, but Melrose are doing everything they can to turn it around.
Yeah, they're certainly making it interesting. If they can get a score, I'd say the next kind of they've just the kick-offs just went short, but the referees played it because it bounced back out over the 10. So Melrose have got Hawick have got the ball here, but if Melrose can get the ball back and score, I'd say within the next kind of half a minute, then certainly it could be a grandstand finish here. But Hawick will just be looking to keep the ball and do something with it.
Hawick, John Coots evades the first challenge. Good tackle there from Chalmers. Armstrong though is able to pick up the scraps and continue the run. Armstrong up against, I think that's Runciman back there, and he puts the tackle in. And Rhys Cullen also there in a Melrose jersey, just trying to get acquainted with his new teammates. Probably be a temporary measure in a Sevens jersey. Cullen tracking back there. Cottrell with a kick through, wasn't going to win that one. Electronic scoreboard now showing with just over a minute left. Hawick 31, Melrose 21. Graham Dodds not hanging about on his own 10-metre line. The quick tap and go. Melrose opting to run it down this stand side. 5 metres from the touchline. Bruce Colvine up towards halfway. Pops the pass inside there. And it's continued the run on by Ross Miller, who scored a try just a moment ago. Oh, that's taken on here by, I think that's Chalmers. And Chalmers is going to be in for a try. And Chalmers touches down. This might be a very important conversion attempt. And Graham Dodds scampers after the ball there. Gives it to Lockington. Lockington bounces it a couple of times. Now what's he going to do with the conversion? He's knocked it over. And it's now, my goodness me, Hawick 31, Melrose 28. Is Harry Houdini in the stadium? If he is, he might be wearing a Melrose jersey. And there's anxiety on the faces of the Hawick support for the first time in this final as they edge towards the edge of their seats. It's nail-biting stuff. Hawick need to keep possession of the ball. They've won the restart. Armstrong practically in his own try line. Left hand in the air, punts the ball out to play, and the referee blows for full time, and Hawick have won their 7th title, their 7th success in 8 years, defeating the team that lifted the silverware 12 months ago, or 13 months because it was April last year. Melrose winners in 2014. Certainly a monumental fight back from them. 31 points to 28. At one stage it looked as if they were well out of it, but it's a case of perhaps what might have been from a Melrose point of view. But Hawick again were playing within themselves. I know they were maybe tired. They didn't necessarily look too nervous, just Melrose went through the gears much quicker when they were really chasing it. Many of us felt it was a lost cause, but Melrose certainly felt that they had what it takes to come back. And my goodness me, when Lockington kicked that conversion and brought it back to within 3 points, what was vital was Melrose winning the restart. They didn't. It came back the way of Hawick. Armstrong was looking down, could tell what the time was, could see the electronic scoreboard and the clock, and punted it into touch. And then the Hawick players and support were able to rejoice. But quite a final.
Yeah, there's so many parts of that final. Just towards the end there, little things like Bruce Colvine just throwing that ball out the back, getting into space, and eventually getting that all-important kind of the last try to make it interesting. But I think from Hawick's point of view, I think they raced into such a big lead, and it was so comfortable for them that maybe their adrenaline started to kind of die down a little bit, and they just weren't as kind of, they thought it was safe, and maybe weren't as kind of all hands to the pump as they were before. And it was a great final. The Melrose raced, Hawick raced into a massive lead, and Melrose showed all the heart that they've got in coming back into that game, and certainly could have snatched it right at the end if they'd won that kick-off. But it was certainly a humdinger of a final, and it's good for the Kings of the Seventh Circuit that they've had 2 finals in 2 days, and we've had 4 different teams competing it, and then we've had 3 different winners in the last 4 tournaments. So it shows how competitive the Kings Circuit is. But it's Hawick who just hold on, and then they're walking away and picking up their own trophy.
Yeah, the applause there for both sets of players who certainly produced a really entertaining final. Rory Hutton, I'm sure, will enjoy the few flashbulbs there. The photographer's taken some photographs, and he'll enjoy this moment. And Hawick have really stamped their authority in this tournament in recent years. But Melrose, the only team to interrupt a run of 7 wins now for Hawick in 8 successive seasons. And here come the Hawick players to receive the award. I think that's a man of the match tournament trophy going to Lee Armstrong. It is Armstrong who can't really argue with that. He's been everywhere in a Hawick jersey this afternoon, defence and attack, and been very alert and scored some really good interception tries. And in a couple of minutes' time, the silverware will be handed over. Ross Cameron, the Hawick president, with the microphone in hand at the front of the stand. Fraser Thompson, who didn't compete in the final, his place was taken by Rhys Cullen, who was loaned from Watsonians, and he leads the Melrose team up to receive their runners-up medals. And in a few moments, Rory Hutton and the Hawick players will lift the trophy once again here. But Fraser Thompson will be disappointed that it wasn't to be. Of course, last weekend, winners at Kelso, so they've had success in recent times. And I'd imagine the likes of Fraser Thompson and Graham Dodds receiving their medals. These guys will have a real cabinet full of winners and runners-up medals over the last few years.
Yeah, they certainly will. Yeah, they've been there or thereabouts, and even after their slow start to the Kings of the Seventh Circuit, they've certainly kind of found a bit of form. But they're human. The last few years we've been used to Melrose winning everything, but at times they're going to be second best, and certainly they were second fiddle today to a very, very, very good Hawick team. They were inspired. The way that they kind of dealt with Gala in the semi-finals was very, very good as they start to kind of make their way up to pick up the trophy. But they hammered Gala in the semi-final, and Gala, without doubt, the strongest side in this Kings of the Seventh Circuit this year, which is why they have been crowned Kings of the Sevens already. But Hawick, they went about their business very well, scored some great tries. Every player in the squad, even Fairbanks, who started the first game but succumbed to injury, he even had a good opening kind of first game until obviously Matty Douglas had to come in. But there's 11 men in that Hawick squad that have worn the Hawick jersey today that have certainly done their club and their town proud after moving the Sevens, and obviously they've had a great season getting to the final, and it's just going to be topped off with winning their own Sevens, and they'll be looking to maybe add to that next week down at the Jed Forest Sevens.
Absolutely, yeah. Fairbairn's absence covered by Matty Douglas, so something that's become something of an annual occasion now. Michael Robertson, the first up, and Rory Hutton just receiving the trophy now, and will just get his way into the middle of the Hawick huddle, and there's the cheer as Hawick lift the silverware.